Welcome to the final video in this series. I want to congratulate you on coming this far. You see, most people don't even want to acknowledge that sugar addiction exists. They love their sugar way too much. So the fact that you're watching this video shows your drive and commitment for change, and I am so proud of you for getting here. You're already miles ahead of most people when it comes to developing a healthier relationship with food and your body. So hang in there, because in this video, I'm going to be sharing my #1 tip for staying sugar-free long-term. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video, where I will be sharing an incredible offer. So you've upgraded the sugar in your house using the replace principle. And 2, you started to introduce nourishing recipes using the slow principle, using seasonal, local, and organic whole foods. And you've started to become mindful when it comes to your relationship with sugar and emotional eating. And you're well and truly on board the Sweet Freedom train. But you're still in a world surrounded by sugar. With over 75% of supermarket products containing some form of processed sugar, avoiding the sweet stuff can be a minefield. Sugar is sneakily hidden even in so-called healthy foods. So even if you think you're making the right decision, you can still be eating refined sugar. And that means that your addiction response is triggered without you even realizing it. Think about how much sugar you interact with on a daily basis. You probably work with sugar addicts, with work functions and office snacks constantly surrounding you. And you probably live and love with sugar addicts. It all adds up, celebrating birthdays, commiserating bad times, or even the weekly hump day donut trip. It can feel like you're standing in a thunderstorm trying to avoid the rain. Being constantly bombarded with temptations is incredibly draining. And before you know it, you've fallen off the train to Sweet Freedom and hopped on the train to Sugar City. And it can happen very quickly and suddenly, and it can feel like the world is set up for you to fail. This was a reoccurring problem that I experienced myself and with many of my clients when I first started doing this work. Clients I worked with would have a good level of success, and then I wouldn't see them for a while. And when I did see them again, I discovered that they were back on sugar. I knew I had to take a step back and really figure out what it was that was causing these relapses to sugar. I needed something else. Although my clients were experiencing success, it wasn't long-term, so something was missing. So I dove headfirst into research mode. I started to look into addiction programs and research outside of the realm of food. I had an epiphany, a true light bulb moment. All of the top successful addiction programs had this one thing in common, and that one thing was community. And what's so special about community? Well, community specifically related to addiction is when you have a group of people who are connected and they join together towards a common goal. In our case, it's about coming together and moving towards our sweet freedom, where we're in control of our cravings and our cravings aren't in control of us. The Sweet Freedom community is about support, encouragement, and working together to avoid those temptations and the negative thoughts that can often lead us to lose control. Community gives you comfort during the hard times and helps you celebrate all of your successes. It's all about having a sense of belonging and not having to endure this struggle alone. This makes community the most powerful tool for overcoming addiction. When I had the most success on my Sweet Freedom journey, I was surrounded by like-minded, positive, and supportive people who'd been on the same journey. And it made me feel like I wasn't suffering with my sugar addiction alone. I had people I could share my issues with. We could share stories and support one another on this roller coaster of giving up an addiction. And as the African proverb says, and I truly believe is so related to addiction, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go farther, go together. But, and there is a but on this one, unfortunately, what I noticed about my clients is that their current communities were full of other sugar addicts like they were. Their work colleagues ate sugar, their families ate sugar, and it seemed like everywhere they turned, there was sugar. And that's just their live communities. What we're finding now is that people are more and more exposed to and influenced by online communities. So if they look at their friends' feeds on Facebook, different Instagram accounts that they subscribe to, and what we're seeing is everywhere there's pictures of brownies, cookies, ice cream, candies, sweet drinks. It's just literally a deluge of visual images that in the end absolutely do influence our relationship to food and can trigger sugar addiction. Now, some of my clients were able to get their friends and family on board to help them, and that was great. But the vast majority of the time, people who are looking to find support and community to help them get off of sugar rarely found people who were willing and able to help them. And this is why I am constantly talking about how sugar addiction is deeply rooted in our communities and our culture. And the sad truth is, the overwhelming majority of the population will not address sugar addiction until it's too late. They get diagnosed with diabetes or heart disease or numerous other health conditions that are related to a lifetime of consuming processed sugars and foods. But it doesn't stop there. There's still people who are diagnosed with diabetes, and yet they still consume large amounts of sugar and rely on insulin injections to manage their blood sugar levels. And that's people who know that they have diabetes. There are millions of people right now who are pre-diabetic, and 90% of those people don't even know that they're pre-diabetic. This is a huge problem. There's a story I tell my students about how hard it can be to quit an addiction without a supportive community around you. It starts with a huge motivator for me, my mom. She has always been my biggest fan and greatest supporter in everything I do in life. But I never realized how much she needed me until she was diagnosed with a life-threatening reaction from a fluoroquine antibiotic that was the result of a compromised immune system because of her own sugar consumption. Now, if this wasn't a call to action, I don't know what is, but the story doesn't end there. It was whilst visiting my mom, who was recovering from heart, kidney, and liver failure. We almost lost her, but she survived. And while she was in there, she had a roommate who was in the hospital bed next to her, who was admitted to the hospital because she broke her leg during a diabetes-induced stroke. And while I was there with my mom, and I was bringing her all whole foods, so slow foods, that I made for her from scratch at home, this woman's family came in to visit her. But they didn't come in empty-handed. They came in with this beautiful, shiny, colorful box, and it was a tray of donuts, freshly iced and fried, and they laid it on her lap on her bed. And they probably got these donuts in the lobby of the hospital. Now, don't even get me started on that. So here was this woman's family who clearly loved her. And now one of the first things that she's eating after coming to from a diabetes-induced stroke and breaking her leg because of this is that she has a tray of sugar-filled donuts that are actually going to course through her body and inhibit every aspect of her healing. So this is a clear example of a family who clearly loved her, who were giving her this loving gesture that was actually doing way more harm than good. To this day, I still think of that moment as a turning point. So here were two women in close proximity to me that I could see, based on where they lived in northern Alberta, had absolutely zero hope of finding a community that would support them to get sugar-free. And there are so many people, like too many people out there who are in that exact same situation that I knew I had to do something about this and take action. I decided to start what is now our most successful sugar cessation program to date, the Sweet Freedom 8-week online program. My goal was to create an online community where people from all walks of life could go to for support, advice, strategies, and all of this in an amazing judgment-free community. And when I say judgment-free, that includes yourself. I have a rule in our program that you're not allowed to say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to another person. When I first started this program, we started small. But because our program offers lifetime access, we have just been growing and growing. We're really creating a sugar-free movement of people who are looking to break free from their sweet prison and step into a life of sweet freedom. Our members see the Sweet Freedom online program as a place that they can go to feel safe and supported. One of my absolute favorite success stories sums up why the online community is the missing piece to the puzzle. I've been working with an amazing Sweet Freedom fighter named Christina for over 2 years now. Christina has agreed to share her story in the hopes that it would inspire other people to take the first steps to kick sugar out of their life. Hear Christina tell her story in her own words.
Well, why don't we get started by you telling your story, like how,
Sure.
where you were, and how you came to Sweet Freedom, and just your story as you see it and experience it.
So my struggle with food and weight really has been my whole life. Um, I was never well. I was going to say I was never small. When I look back at my pictures when I was overweight, as a teenager and young adult, I think, wow, if I could get there again, that'd be great. But all my life, I was bigger than was considered normal. Um, I remember the first time I was bullied for being fat as a child outside of, in the schoolyard, and that was grade 2. So it has been my lifelong companion.
What did your relationship with food and sugar look like? What how do you describe it?
Yeah. Well, it was pretty crazy. I mean, I could consume amounts that, when you tell a sort of person who doesn't have a problem with food, they just kind of shake their heads and they don't get it. I mean, I could have like a whole bag of cookies and sugary tea for breakfast. I could buy a red velvet cake and eat it myself in one sitting. I could eat a whole thing of ice cream. I could, have the bag of chips and then the ice cream and then the cake all in one evening. Like it just, um, I mean, literally, it's crazy, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was out of control, out of control. And then, um, like the self-hate, right? The self-hate is just so toxic.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing, which is important, is that I even got the gastric band. I was going to say installed. um, 8 years ago, maybe.
Right.
Not covered by insurance. I'm in Canada, so $16,000 out of my own pocket.
Wow.
Huge amount of money. But I was desperate. I was starting to have, high blood pressure and pre-diabetes, and I'm on my own. I don't have anybody who would take care of me if I get really sick. So I thought, well, hopefully this will help, right? And I did great with it. I lost tons of weight the first 6 months, but the ban restricts healthy food. The ban does not restrict ice cream and cookies and chips and chocolate, which they tell you, but when you're ready to do that procedure, part of you knows you still have that addict in you, but you don't want to believe it anymore. You want to believe this is going to be the thing that'll fix you, right?
Did you have any fears about the program going in and yourself?
Yes. And I'm sure you remember me too then.
I do. I do. And so see, my observation of your transformation is not just in the physical. It's like
Yeah.
everywhere. So go for it. I
Yeah.
want to interrupt.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was really scared to be trying again at weight loss. Um, the fear of failing was immense. The fear of relapse was immense. Um, I felt very protective of myself, and it took a while just for me to realize that I was actually in a safe place. Um, and I'm sure there's many people that have been through this. It's like you try and you fail, and you try and you fail,
Mm,
and you try and you fail, right?
mm, yeah.
So after a while, the pain of failing is just not something you want to risk anymore, right?
Yeah.
You just don't want to risk it. So
Yeah.
um, in some ways, I'm not even sure how I found the inner resource to try again. But I just feel it was meant to be. It was meant to be, and I have um, some really great friends now in the Sweet Freedom community. People that I talk to on the phone, and we support each other. And I just thought I had to do something, and you know. So this next piece, I'm going to say, you're going to have to edit out, but I'm going to say it to you so you know. Um, I have always held the option of suicide open for myself,
Mhm.
because holding the option open was sometimes the only thing that made life bearable. And I still held that option open for me if I failed at Sweet Freedom. And I just feel so much compassion for myself for just trying again. I'm fucking amazing.
You certainly are. As you know, Sweet Freedom is not a weight loss program, and I never push, well, not never, but I play down the weight loss thing
Mm-hmm.
because it's such a mind game, and a lot of people will sell programs based on people losing weight, but very few of them have long-term stats of people keeping off the weight, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so people kind of have success stories, and then they retreat because they don't report the people who came back, and because they came
Yeah.
back, 60 even though they lost 50, that kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's a big thing. But saying that, and it is a big thing, for people who like us have been, obese and morbidly obese. So you lost how many pounds in how many months?
I lost very quickly in the first 6 months, and I lost over, well, it was getting close to 50 pounds in the first 6 months, I think, or maybe 40 pounds. Um, Now it's slowing down, but it's over 50 pounds. Like I weigh less now than I did at my lowest point with the gastric band.
Right. And you were talking about your clothes, like the
Yeah.
impact on your clothing. Yeah.
Yeah, last weekend I finally said this is enough with these fat clothes in the closet, and I got rid of about half of them. And this week at work, it was, we could wear jeans all week, and honestly, it was just embarrassing to be wearing the jeans that I was wearing. I had safety pins in the waist, I didn't bother pinning the legs because what's the point in that, right? I felt like they were like they weren't even mom jeans. They were just like, country farmer overall big baggy jeans. So I broke down last weekend and I bought a pair of jeans, which are size 16. They're a little bit tight, but they even have a zipper. I haven't had zippers in jeans for like, I don't know, a decade.
You go, girl.
Been a long time. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I mean, the truth is that, I mean, that's an incredible success, and I know that, but the truth is at size 16, I'm still way bigger than is good for me, you know. Fortunately, my blood pressure is better. I've been able to half my medication.
Yeah.
I'm working on lowering medication for some other things, not quite as successful yet, but I'm working on it. It's like a long-term goal.
Yeah.
Um, but it's the first time in a really long time that I'm actually starting to feel like I can move in my body. It's like, instead of always thinking, can I do that? Can I get there? How much pain am I going to have at the end of doing that? It's like, oh yeah, I can do that, and I make myself consciously experience the doing of that to go, wow, this is what it's like to move in a smaller body, and that is that is a gift, a gift.
Yeah.
I think the biggest piece is that now I feel that there's possibility in my life again. Um, possibility to regain my health and my energy in a way that I haven't been able to do in a really long time.
I really feel Christina's story represents everything that we're trying to achieve here at Sweet Freedom. It's about way more than weight loss and willpower. It's about healing an addiction to food so you can truly step into your best life. I want you to succeed. I want you to be in a place where you are in total control of your food and your decisions around what you eat. Because I can see myself 20 years ago in every single person who comes through our program, and I know without a shadow of a doubt, if I can do it, you can too. Throughout the years, I've refined my approach down to an 8-week online program. And this program is designed to take you from a sugar addict to a lifelong sweet freedom hero. My program is built for anyone who is ready to change their relationship to food for life. But it's about way more than food. When you take the Sweet Freedom 8-week online program, we don't even ask you to give up sugar until week 4. We get you strong mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as well as physically before we even get you to try and give up sugar. Our focus is on long-term, sustainable change. As you now know, community is key here, which is why during the program, you join us every week for a live group coaching session with me. No matter where you are in the world, we make sure that every person on the program feels that network of support and encouragement. Not only that, but when you sign up, you also gain access to our private Facebook group. This is a strictly judgment-free zone and offers a space to share stories, triumphs, challenges, and most importantly, support each other on our way to sweet freedom.
Okay, sweet freedom fighters. I just walked into our little kitchenette, and this is what greeted me. I'm at work. Okay, I'm walking away. See me? I am walking away. No sweet treats for me because I want my sweet freedom more.
Both of these communities will give you something that holds the key to successfully gaining control over your eating habits: positive accountability. During the 8 weeks, I guide you step by step through the proven strategy I designed to help even the most hardened sugar addicts get free from their sugar addiction. Hello, I'm Sherry Strong, and welcome to the Sweet Freedom online program. I am so glad you are here, and I'm so proud of you for making this step. And people like Gina, someone who thought it was absolutely impossible to give up sugar, says this: I recently completed the Sweet Freedom 8-week program, which also included the Sweet Freedom 30-day challenge, and I feel amazing. While working through the 30-day challenge, I noticed many positive changes. Within a week, I had more energy, I felt lighter, the weight seemed to drop off immediately. I felt rested in the mornings and ready for the day, instead of sluggish and wishing for bedtime again before my eyes were open. Symptoms of plantar fasciitis in my feet and carpal tunnel in my wrist and sleep apnea have all but disappeared. Migraines that were occurring at least twice a month have been non-existent. My skin feels fabulous, and my husband has noted on a couple occasions that I look younger. I went from a size 18 to a size 14 in less than a month. I'm once again wearing clothes that have been collecting dust for a very long time in my closet. I do not miss sugar or the way I know it was making me feel. I finally found Sweet Freedom, such an appropriate name for this program, Eugenia Sauer. And remember, at Sweet Freedom, we're all about progress and not perfection, which is why we offer lifetime access to all of our members. And while we realize that you can actually have all the tools to quit sugar in 8 weeks, Not everyone's able to do it 100% the first time, which is why we offer you lifetime access. So you always can come back to the Sweet Freedom family to be able to continue to work on your relationship with food, sugar, and your body. And this was the case with Allison, who bought the program but didn't do anything with it the first time. But when she came back the second time, she had great success. What was your relationship with sugar before you started Sweet Freedom?
Well, my relationship with sugar was unhealthy. That's probably the best way to put it. I was almost obsessive compulsive about consuming ridiculous amounts of chocolate or even just sugar. Part of the problem was is that if I'm spending a lot of time on the internet, which doesn't seem to sort of engage me fully, it's like watching TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out of boredom, I'd be just shoveling this stuff in my mouth, not even consciously thinking about what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know, so that I would say is probably as unhealthy as it gets.
And so how did that make you feel, both in your body and emotionally?
Well, of course, you get that sort of sugar high and then crash, and then you refuel that again because it's what kind of gets you out of that funk, you know. So it was just an ongoing loop. Um, it's just not a good thing to do.
And how did your body feel?
Sluggish.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a bit of a buzz. Well, it's sort of a fake buzz, you know, like it's not like it's real energy. Um, and aside from sitting in front of the computer all the time, that doesn't help either because you're lethargic all the time. The sugar doesn't help that by any stretch. It just perpetuates that kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm. And did it impact you at all emotionally, mood-wise, or depression or anything like that? Did you have anything?
That's a harder thing to assess because if I'm feeling like that all the time, there's no highs and lows to sort of grade it against, right? It wasn't great. I knew that it wasn't great. I needed to change it.
Why?
Well, I've done enough reading on the subject about how bad sugar is for you, and I'm a mom who's got Alzheimer's, and I've read lots on the fact that they've decided that, or they've found that sugar basically kills your brain. So I figured that getting off the sugar would probably at least mitigate some of the chances that I'm genetically predisposed to having dementia or Alzheimer's. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Great. And so you had an experience where you bought the program, didn't really engage, and then came back to it. Can you talk about that experience for you?
Yeah, I bought the program and I didn't engage initially. I had great aspirations to do that, but I guess I wasn't ready, or there was other stuff going on in my life at the time. My mom was moving into secure care and things like that.
Yeah.
There was just all kinds of stuff going on. I was in a new marriage, all that kind of thing, and so I think mentally I just wasn't ready to take another thing on, basically. So I kind of dabbled in it. I kind of watched it, whatever, but I didn't really engage in the program. Um, I wasn't active in the social media group. I read the stuff, I sort of followed it, but it wasn't long before I was back into my old habits again. And, once things sort of settled down and kind of felt like I had a better control on things, I re-engaged in the program on the last launch, and it was really good. Actually, I learned a lot more. The community is really supportive and really helpful, and I was able through the length of the whole process of I think it was 4 weeks. I can't remember now.
8.
8 weeks. Okay. Maybe. Yeah. I was able to stay off the sugar. I reduced it significantly. I hadn't eaten a chocolate bar in weeks. And I was drinking water again. I felt really good. I lost a little bit of weight. There isn't, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I didn't fall off the train maybe once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly enough, it was more of a conscious choice to do that than it was to just kind of just fall back into old habits and start at zero again. And I didn't feel the need to beat myself up about it or anything like that. It's like, you know what, start again tomorrow. And that's pretty much what I did. It was overall a pretty positive experience, I'd have to say. And I just think about it differently than what I did before. If I choose to eat something that isn't good for me, then it's, I look at it differently. It's not that I can't eat it, it's that I choose not to. Or if I do eat it, it's because I choose to. So having a conscious mind about that makes all the difference in understanding the reasons why I'm engaging in that behavior and whether or not I choose not to. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
It does.
I just, it makes all the difference. Mindset is a huge component of that, and Sherry covers that a lot in her program.
Thank you. So, what would you say to anyone who is actually considering the Sweet Freedom program and maybe thinking like they have too much on their plate to do it?
If someone's considering doing the program and feeling like they have too much on their plate at the moment to sort of follow through with it, I would say go ahead with it. Just even if you're standing on the outside looking in and watching it, you're going to learn something, I guarantee it, just from the interaction in the group or just sort of following through on on the modules, even at your own time. It's great to engage with the live calls every week. That certainly helps keep you on track, and it absolutely sort of reinforces the amount of support that you'll find within the group. But if you don't have time to do it, when it's live, it's taped, it's recorded, so you can watch it later, and you can go through it at your own pace. And then when you feel like it's a better time for you, then you can engage in it a lot more in depth and follow it to the letter if you choose. I mean, you know what? The way I look at this is any effort to get sugar out of your life is better than none. Any effort is better than none. Even if you're not following it 100%, it's just, you got to start. You got to start somewhere.
Oh, I like that. So, in your opinion, just your experience, what do you think makes Sweet Freedom different to other programs out there?
I would say that what makes Sweet Freedom different than other programs out there would be Sherry's interaction with the group. She's really engaged and she really cares about, how you're feeling and how your body's feeling. And, there's certainly a mental aspect to this, and Sherry's pretty tuned into that. And she speaks from experience, a lot of experience. She had her own battles with sugar and that I'm aware of. And I think that when group facilitators have that kind of background, aside from all her professional background in nutrition and food and everything, her personal background makes a big difference in how she interacts with the group because she gets it. She gets it.
So, I guess the last thing is just, is there any last thing that you'd like to say to anyone who's considering Sweet Freedom?
If you're thinking about joining the program, if you're on the fence about the program, I would say take the leap. Take that leap of faith and believe in yourself that you can follow through on this. There's no judgment if you can't because there's stuff going on in your life or there's stuff that distracts you. At the end of the day, it's your choice to follow through, and you'll find tons of support in the group to do that. And it's only going to make you feel better.
We are so confident that you'll find success in the program. We offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, where with any time in that 30 days you find that the program's not right for you, we offer you a money-back guarantee, no questions asked. Not only that, in addition to our 8-week strategy, live coaching calls, and access to our powerful community, you'll get these incredible bonuses. We give you 5 lifestyle guides that help you navigate different aspects of living sugar-free, ranging from a kitchen guide that lays out how to set up your kitchen for success, to a candida guide that lays out a strategy to get rid of nasty candida infections in your gut that are likely there as a result of excess sugar consumption. We also have an eating out guide that gives you tips and tools for when you're out on the town for a meal with friends and family. And we're also including podcasts with 8 leading sugar experts from a variety of fields to keep you informed, educated, and inspired. These include podcasts with Damon Gamo, director and star of That Sugar Film, J.G. Virgin, leading nutrition and fitness expert, Ocean Robbins, humanitarian and founder of the Food Revolution Network, as well as many more. And if that wasn't enough, I'll be offering the first 10 people who sign up for this next round of our 8-week program a free 30-minute personalized coaching call with me, where I'll give you advice and strategies in overcoming your own difficulties with sugar. And as an extra bonus, I'm gifting the first 10 people on those calls with me my favorite kitchen utensil, which was featured in video 2, the Zoodle Maker, which makes the best zucchini noodles in the world. So we usually sell this product for $747. But since you've stuck with me and watched this entire video series, we know that you're committed to developing a healthier relationship with food and looking to find real sweet freedom. So if you follow the link below, you can get the program today for just $497. That's $250 off our regular price as a gift to you for sticking with us this far. I want you to discover how it feels to crave sweet freedom more than sugary treats. Giving up sugar can be hard, especially in the world we're living in today, and it can also be scary. If you told me 20 years ago that it was possible to have this incredible transformation and all I had to do was give up sugar, my first response would have been fear. So if there's any part of you that's still feeling fear or self-doubt, I want you to know that I get it, I understand it. And it is what Stephen Pressfield says, beginning before you're ready. So begin before you're ready. It's that act of doing despite feeling the fear that will actually give you the confidence to keep going on your sweet freedom journey. And what I want you to know more than anything is I know without a shadow of a doubt, if you follow this program, if you follow these strategies, if you get into community and you work with us, I know that you can do this. I want you to know that I believe in you and the Sweet Freedom community believes in you, and we've got your back. I want you to know that you are stronger than sugar. So if you want to start to look and feel younger, if you want to shed that excess sugar weight, and you want to start to develop a whole new relationship with food and your body, click the button below and get started today. I can't wait to have you in our Sweet Freedom community and on the Sweet Freedom train. I am looking forward to seeing you there, and I will be the first to give you the biggest virtual hug.